Last time, on the Empire's Edge.
I think we should try to find this guy's tracks. I think we need to take him out.
Boris and I'm about to say Natasha. We kill bugbear and moose.
And it looks as though his tracks lead right to this opening. You know that it is a really big web. Rolling it.
I've got a divinely blessed sword. I'm being a proper paladin.
Natural 20 for a 23 unnatural.
The inside is in the area that we're standing
So
in.
it's almost like we're standing in like an oven.
You can definitely hear something moving, as though in a narrow space, like something's belly crawling, shifting, moving around. There's something moving ahead of you.
I activate Divine Sense.
Yes, there's an undead within 60 feet of you.
He's here.
Boris, you've crouched down, you're facing through the crack in this metal room, and you're looking the direction you've both sensed and Zelen has heard that your foe has been moving in.
Right, I guess kind of the only option I've got, unless this crack is appreciably larger than the other one.
That's about the same as the last one.
I'll sheath my sword and take the torch. Shine the torch through first to see if I can see movement, and also if it's the same thickness, that there's, a foot of whatever this metal is, and then it hits stone again, like somebody just embedded. I don't know, my brain goes right to prison, not necessarily kiln.
So first of all, there is no movement that you see, in your illumination through this crack into the next chamber, the next room. And it looks like it's about the same distance, maybe 15, maybe just a foot or two more of distance, this tunnel-like crack, to get to that space.
Okay.
Is it, Boris, do you want to take my dagger? Would that be helpful?
I only have so many hands.
Okay.
Especially with the shield. If I didn't have the shield,
Got it.
then I, could have the torch in my offhand and the sword out, but, I'd rather protect myself first and, kind of in between strikes, draw sword and fight back.
Got it.
All right, anything else before you start moving through them, Boris?
Jacob, are you coming with us? Just checking.
Standing here shaken, traumatized. Yeah, no, I've just realized I haven't said anything yet. Yeah, no, I am all for it.
Hey, before we go
thankfully
in,
not envenomed.
Before we go in, I do have one cure wounds spell. How's everybody? Are we feeling? If we go in and go into another fight, how's everybody feeling? Are you okay?
I think we can get at least into the beginning of a fight.
Okay.
I think we'll be good.
All right.
Plus, you can always heal from when we fall down on the ground.
I'd rather go in as close to full as I can be.
Okay. Then I'm going to suggest that I do cure wounds on you.
All right.
6.
Nice.
Yeah, he was down 5.
Yeah.
So he's back up at max.
Can he have the extra one?
No.
Please.
Yeah, I think someday, Jacob, when you get spells, yours is also a wisdom, but I think...
I get spells next level too, and their wisdom.
And
or no,
was,
I'm charisma, actually.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I was just reading it this morning.
Equal stats for me, but I don't know. But hey, if I get the ability to heal myself...
actually, charisma's better for me. I'd rather go with charisma.
What is it, plus wisdom?
The wisdom modifier.
Yeah, you're
Is there a
casting modifiers
dexterity-based spellcaster?
Not that I'm aware, no.
That'd be fantastic.
It's a dancer.
Yeah, we call that a rogue.
Yeah, and the spell is
spellcast
always
steal.
stab.
Or steal.
I cast steal.
There is a 3.5 spell called cheat, wherein you literally cheated a game of chance.
Oh, nice.
Was that nice? Like, I want to do that. All right, so Boris, you're proceeding through?
I am, yeah.
All right, so, Zelen, your healing spell is done.
At a slower pace, pausing to listen periodically, I want to see if I can hear, an ambush on the other side. Like, as I crawl through, am I going to get my head chopped off? Because that's why people made those low doorways.
Let's say you go 5 feet and then do that listen.
Am I doing I'd ask if I'm doing this as perception or investigation, but they're the same. 12?
Yeah. At 12, there's nothing in the immediate chamber making sound.
Okay.
But you can hear sound beyond that. There's something either in like the next chamber or in a different portion of this chamber.
Okay.
But the area just, in proximity to you and your movements, there's nothing that close by.
Okay. I'm going to stop 2 feet from the mouth and do it again.
Okay, go ahead.
With an 11 this time.
Same reaction, that there's something else moving. Let's see, what would that be on that? Roll your religion.
Okay. Damn it. 6.
Roll religion. damn it.
Paladin.
Yeah, I'm preoccupied with. Oh, I can't
Staying
even
alive.
say wounds anymore.
So with a scar. So with your 6 on religion, you actually in the back of your mind was thinking to yourself, one of the prayers you had learned as a young boy just popped into your head and you were saying it, but you couldn't quite put a context on why you suddenly thought that particular idea, that particular prayer. It was just there for a moment as you're preparing to go up into this space.
I see.
So I'm right behind Boris, or
Are you or are you waiting?
No, I was
Okay.
I was going to be following
Okay.
pretty
So
close
you're-
behind you.
That's fine. You're right behind him.
So is there any help that I can offer? Anything that I can sense or prompt, or any help that I can offer him?
Did you go to Bible study with him? No.
I exit, prop the torch somewhere, pull sword.
Okay, good. Yeah. So you're staying up in this room. It is another room that looks as though it had some particular function, but then time has collapsed the majority of this room. It would be like a slightly smashed square or cube. There's a definite doorway leading out of the space, one of the first you've actually seen. But again, it's root filled, rough boulders, rocks, as though a whole side of this thing collapsed a long, long time ago in the past. But there's no other movement.
There's a
apart from
definite
you.
exit.
The's a definite exit on the
I
other side of this
cross to
room.
that exit.
Okay.
I don't cross through the threshold. I just stay by the door as a guard for when they move in.
Okay. There is actually a door. It's a wooden door, and it looks as though it is rotted on its hinges, and it's partially open. So, Zelen, you're standing up in this
Yes,
area too?
I'm coming through.
And do you pick the torch back up?
Yes. Yep. I grab the torch and do a look around to see, look up, make sure there's no spiders above me. Do a look around to see if there's anything that I can immediately pick up in this room.
So, go ahead and do an investigation as you're looking up, which you get in that moment.
11.
As you're looking up, you can see that there is a space above ceiling height where it looks like maybe you could, if somebody boosted you up, or if you could crawl on some of these roots, or climb like a rope, that you could climb up into that space that's into the ceiling. Where it goes from there, it's anybody's guess, but it looks like it wouldn't be much more than like a tube, even more of like a belly crawl than crawling on all fours like it was to get into this chamber.
So there's a space again in this chamber, like the last one, up high, that looks like it could lead somewhere.
I'm not sure if I could even fit into that.
Yeah, I'm going to look around to see where his tracks went.
Jacob, what are you doing?
I'm crawling into the hole now. Or crawling into the room.
So you're going through there.
Yeah.
And before you make that roll, though, Zelen, the two of you that are there, Boris, Zelen, go ahead and roll your listen again.
As a perception or as an investigation?
Whichever's higher.
18.
And I don't matter.
You pick up, you hear, as you're like starting to move, like, I could, like, there's some kind of a space above there in the ceiling. And Boris says, I'm not sure I can even fit in a space like that. You can hear someone talking in the room beyond. It's not your set, but it sounded almost like chanting.
So I can hear some kind of chanting. I can hear it. It's almost like it's a vent up there, and I can hear it through the vent.
So roll again, Boris, as though you're rolling with advantage with her communicating that to you.
19.
On 19, you realize that somebody in the very next chamber, not through that space in the ceiling, but coming from the door, in a very low voice is chanting, but it doesn't seem to be spell-like. It is a prayer, but it's wrong. It's as though somebody took a prayer that was a known that everyone knew and changed words, changed the tempo to try to make it serve a different kind of purpose. It just seems wrong.
I share that with, I assume, all of us now that we're in here.
Yeah, you're all in the same room right now.
We follow the steam, smoke, the fog into this area. What's it doing once we're in here?
It's almost dissipated to the point where it's not a noticeable thing. When you're standing upright and you're hearing them saying these things, you're looking for a foe, there's no foe. And then as you glance about thinking that, it's barely noticeable that there's any of that stuff still in here.
I say we get into that next room and attack before
Interrupt any ritual,
Exactly. Yeah.
That other area that you saw that would take a belly crawl to get through, does it double back the direction that we came from?
I don't know. We don't know.
You have to jump up
we
there.
have to
or
go
we
up.
actually
climb
have
up
to
there
climb
to
up to
put
get
your
to
head
it.
through and
But
look.
our foe is
Okay.
on the other side of the door chanting.
Does
Yeah,
the
Boris.
aperture point back to the other room, or?
It's not exactly an aperture. It's an uneven ceiling of roots and dirt. So to know what direction it's going in is even a little less distinct than just pointing in a direction.
Coffee.
I say we interrupt the chanting.
Agreed. I'll take point.
Okay.
All right, everybody's geared up.
Switch to my bow.
I have no intention of stealth, so I'll just open door, move through.
Yeah. So as you push that, you have to actually fling the door more open into the room that you're in right now.
Sword out.
And as you do that, there's just a very short connecting hallway of about 10 feet, and then into a much larger room that seems to be almost the same size as that big circular room, but it looks like it's a stone room. There's an obelisk lying on the floor, and on the far side of that, looking actually startled, you see that there is a man who is chanting over it, and he stops as soon as he sees you, and his hand goes to a weapon,
Kill
as
him.
though a belt was there, but there's no weapon there, and he seems surprised by all of this.
Yeah, I move to engage.
10, 20, 30. You'll have to move all of this round, and then next round.
I'll move closer.
Okay, so you'll be just about to the obelisk, and he's on the far side of it. And as he's like going for a weapon, almost as like an instinctive reaction, and there's no weapon there, he pulls a very small knife, like a scalpel-like knife.
Okay, here's our guy.
Scalpel guy.
Scalpel guy.
As we all run into the room, turn to Zelen.
cracky
Don't
boom, man.
kill this one yet.
No, let's just kill him. He's chanting.
Which means he knows how to
The
speak.
chanting
Stop chanting.
stopped. Yeah, it's like he was chanting something that would be like a prayer in the Church of Uko. But if somebody was
Are there vines in the room?
messing it up. There are still some in here, but fewer than in the other rooms. This is probably the least clogged or cluttered by them.
Do you have something that works with vines? Or
Shut up.
All right, so are you all closing to get closer to him, or Jacob? Or are you shooting an arrow from your side of the room?
I'm going to keep my distance to maintain ranged
circle
combat
to
with
one
him.
side.
Yeah, so staying to one side, flanking the room.
Okay, so are you moving to your right or to the left? Which direction are you going in?
I'm going to go to the right. She's going to go to the
okay,
left.
that's what I needed to hear. You're to the right. Okay, so you're throwing a dart from where you are?
Oh, am I allowed? Do we have to initiate? Do we have to roll a nits or
We
something?
are. We're going to roll in nits right now.
Oh.
Eee.
Look how that's balanced. So do I take the 20 or the 14?
The 20.
I did it again. World. Okay, no, that's nowhere near as good.
I'm at 8.
I'm at 6.
Oh, shoot.
21.
19. Jacob, it's all you.
Gotcha. Firing on him.
Roll it.
Natural 20.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Oh, man. Yeah. Do you have to confirm criticals in 5?
No, that was a 3.5 thing. You just roll the damage die twice and then add any relevant modifiers.
Oh. The D8.
Here, do you want to borrow mine?
I will borrow yours, sure.
What do I
That
give
one.
you?
The one the second one. There you go. Thank you. Nice. 13 points of damage.
Well done.
Does he drop his knife?
No, he doesn't do that. You're very aware of the total lack of blood as this thing hits.
Ew.
Yeah, there's our dead guy.
You're
That was at
21.
21. At 19, it circles around to its left, which would be the same as your right. So, Jacob, that is it circling toward you,
Yeah, come to expect.
and it's attacking.
Of course it is.
With its little scalpel?
What? Oh, yeah, and it has a longer distance, so despite me hanging back, it still can probably close in this round.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Dang it. Forgot about that. I would have stayed further back.
What's your armor class?
16.
I like how you say that. 16.
17.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's not attacking you with a knife. It's attacking you with its fist.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh, that's a mixed blessing.
Yay, bad.
We know the scalpel's bad, but I doubt a punch is any better.
Are you allowed to duck?
That'd be part of his armor class.
Oh.
There's a dodge thing, but I don't know how that works. Actions in combat. Dash, disengage, dodge.
You take 4 points of damage.
Ooh, okay.
He's a heavy hitter.
Yeah, definitely gets your attention.
It's one more point of unarmed strike that I can do.
So, who was next? That was 21
I'm at
19. Where were you,
I'm
Boris?
at 6.
So, Zelen, that's you.
I'm going to throw a dart.
You got anything with a bit more oomph to it?
My shillelagh.
How's your fire?
Oh, that's a good idea. Hold on.
I don't know if you guys have been in a fight before, but there's not usually this much talking.
1d8 fire damage, no save. If I hit.
Well, you need to hit with a dart anyway.
Okay, I'm going to throw fire.
Okay.
I'm throwing fire. You told me.
Thank you for the warning.
You told me to warn you the last time.
I'll dodge out of the way.
And I rolled a 17.
All right, so you need to go back to the spell and look to see what it says when you're throwing a fire thing like that, because I wasn't ready for
Can
that.
hurl the flame within 30 feet, range spell attack. On a hit, target takes 1d8 fire damage, no save. So do I get anything to add to that 17?
Doesn't look like. Your wisdom modifier.
So then I roll.
Your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus because it's a ranged spell attack.
Holy moly, my wisdom modifier is a 4.
You should actually, there's probably a spell attack like number on all of that somewhere on your character sheet.
Spell attack modifier is a +6.
Yeah, that'd be.
Okay, yeah,
So
you
then
use
I
that
rolled
instead.
an unnatural 23.
Okay, yeah, you definitely hit. Go ahead and roll your D8 damage.
There's one time I want to see her roll a natural 23.
Right.
7. Oh, wait a minute. Do I add anything to it? No.
I know,
just
that
the-
was it.
The 7
That was
points of
great.
fire damage.
7 is still good, though.
Great
Yeah,
damage.
7 is solid damage.
All right, so definitely hit. It's right there next to Jacob.
Mhm.
And I believe that now, Boris, go ahead and roll your attack.
18 versus armor class
Hits.
for 9 points of damage.
Taken.
Does his sword do anything special?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
You're right.
It hits it.
Okay. I just didn't know, like, he hits it and it starts sizzling. Oh.
Yeah, right. I'm suddenly a level higher and can use Divine Smite.
Wouldn't that be just sparkly? Next round. Not Boris. Jacob, you're up first.
What?
Nothing.
Oh.
Now it's me.
We're Jaya
That
Boris
was me.
and Bora Jacob.
Okay, yeah, because what's our cram together name?
Yeah, I forget.
I want to say Jaboro. What I say? I
don't
forgot
know.
what I'd said. Yeah.
Zaborja?
Yeah.
Zaborja, yeah.
Zaboja. What's my minus to firing in melee combat?
You roll at disadvantage.
Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna drop the bow again. Switch over to my sword.
Okay, sweeping it out and attacking.
Yep. For an 18 versus armor class.
And are we flanking it? Is flanking a thing in this edition?
You're not flanking it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Roll your damage.
Yeah. 5.
Taken.
And for my move, I will take a 5-foot step back to disengage.
All right, and then its attack. So I guess only Boris is staying close to it right now.
Right.
That one makes the most sense, and it would probably actually perceive you as a different kind of a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it takes a scalpel against your metal armor.
It attacks you and rolls pretty poorly. What's your armor class?
18.
It misses you.
Thank you.
Tries to slam you, and it is not
Deflects
able to
off the
slam.
shield.
So then, Boris, no, I'm sorry, Zelen, you're up.
I'm going to throw flame again.
He just really wants you to go.
I guess I do. Yeah, he's right there in front of it.
Well, he wanted you to go a second time there.
This is true.
10.
Misses. How much did it miss by?
That's
Well,
fine.
That's a good question for you to answer.
Yeah.
Not much.
Missed by-
It was very
It
close.
was very close. Very
Matter of
close
fact, I
to
hit it.
Boris.
Yeah, that's not a thing in this edition anymore.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
well,
for,
I
for
guess
storytelling. Your fire smacks into the wall just past its head. All right, then it's Boris.
Yeah. Hey, you said actually my name this time. And you might have thrown me off completely with that. 14 versus armor class.
It's
Nice. For 11 points of damage.
nice. Very nice.
I want a magical sword.
How nice.
I want more hit points.
How nice he's still fighting. If you could tell by the subtleties of his movement, if he could disengage completely and get out of this room, he would. He would try to get away from all of you and do whatever his mission actually is. But there's no way he can get past a foe throwing fire, a throw that's shooting arrows, and this guy with a very dangerous weapon right up on top of him. So no, he's stuck where he is right now. New round. Boris, I'm sorry, Jacob, you're up.
With my move, I do want to move around him to flank on the opposing side from Boris.
Okay.
And then what is flanking in 5e? Is that just advantage?
Honestly, advantage sounds pretty sweet.
Most things are advantage, it seems like, whenever you do something
I'm
versus a
double
plus
checking.
2. Well, let's just maybe get it wrong right now and just move along, and we'll just call it advantage. So for right now, Jacob, go ahead and roll with advantage.
It is advantage.
Cool.
All right. Where'd it go?
David was just now attacked by his die.
I know.
It bit him in the finger.
All right. All right. Maybe a crit? No. All right. So the better one was 24.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
All right. And that does a D6 for 6 more points of damage.
Taken.
Nice.
All right, and then my guy's up, and he's again attacking Boris.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to miss again.
Yes.
I like it.
Well, find out. Like the positive attitude.
Yeah, I'm a divine agent. I know what's going to happen.
I roll a natural 18. So with his pluses, even then some, and hits.
I become an Oathbreaker Paladin because my god ditched me.
6 points of damage, Boris.
Oh, yeah, you don't want me to swear. That's no fun.
Zelen, you're up.
Marvin's
I'm going to throw
beard.
fire.
Merlin doesn't exist in this milieu.
Marvin's beard.
Who's Marvin?
And I roll a 20, unnatural 20.
A natural or unnatural?
Unnatural.
A natural.
Yeah, so hits.
Yeah, was it a natural, unnatural, or unnatural?
Mm-hmm.
2 points of damage.
Taken. Boris.
All right. And I get advantage because flanking. Hell yeah. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's see if I can do... Oh, no, I can't do one better. So with a natural 19, I'm at plus 27 to hit. I wanted to get a natural 20 and get that 28 and just clobber him. But I am rolling max damage. Another 14 points.
All right.
Excellent. Hang on, I have to roll something.
Oh, he's one of them.
Destruction Retribution.
Oh, that would suck. Wrong edition, though.
Yeah.
And you cleave him. He chops
Nice.
just from eyeball to crotch. And
Who do
goes
you work
right
for?
in half.
Oh.
Well, he is undead. He might still be able to answer that.
And drops. No, he failed his save and did not stay at 1. He is
Nice.
deep into negatives.
I take his boots.
Ew.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. They're gnarly.
No, I do search his body for that stone that the bird told us he was looking into.
Agreed.
Yeah, it doesn't take you more than a moment in a pocket. He has no other gear on him.
I pick up that scalpel he was waving menacingly but not fighting with.
Okay, yes.
And I wasn't 100% kidding about the boots. Do want to look
you
at those?
don't want it.
Okay.
Who knows?
So, first things first, you do find that stone.
Okay.
Roll probably a nature check with the stone itself.
That is a 19.
You recognize it as being hematite,
Hmm.
that stone itself.
I pick up my bow.
Am I the only person who hasn't slapped the crap out of their mic today?
And as you're holding that stone, as you pick the thing up, you are feeling a connection to something. You're aware of it. And so David just mimed he was dropping it just that fast.
As soon as I feel that, I'm like,
It's
nope.
a potato. He goes clink on the floor. What you were aware of was your fox.
Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. So I share that immediately. This thing is giving me the location of this, and I pull out the fox, like the thing from
That's how it was tracking us.
Olsen.
Might be.
From Olsen.
Olsen.
Yeah, from
Olsen
Olsen.
Lynch, right, from Olsen Lynch's collection.
Yes.
It could be handy to keep that if we could track things with that.
Right, if we could project outward too.
Do you want to look at it any further? Maybe you can.
I do,
You might be able
yeah.
to decide there's a secondary effect. Whoever created it might be tracking this person as well.
Right.
Okay,
I
so
want to study
before
it
you're
as well.
doing that, I think
Yeah.
Boris had said something
Oh,
a
yeah.
moment ago.
Yeah,
he
I
was
picked
looking
up
for.
the scalpel he was waving around and examined to see if there's anything significant about it beyond
It
just
is a
being
very
knife.
fine steel. You've rarely seen a knife of this type that looks as though it would be used for some kind of a surgery. In combat, it's a useless weapon. It's a ridiculous weapon. It almost seemed like a knee-jerk reaction that this individual pulled it as though he was used to pulling a weapon when he was in a stress or combat situation. but you are positive, Boris. When he saw you charging toward him, he didn't charge right at you like, going to meet this guy head on. He went to the side to try to go, around and away. Mm-hmm. But his hand definitely went to where
a weapon would be
pulling
stowed,
a weapon from. Yeah. So
wonder who he was before. And he's with the other zombie. There was an insignia of rank, not a high rank, but presence in the Black Veld militia, I think.
It was in the Black Veld militia. That's exactly right. This person doesn't have anything like that on him. He's dressed more like a commoner, like he was just in anybody work-a-day kind of clothes. Though they're not the man or the zombie you guys killed that was from Black Veld, his stuff looks like it had gone through the ringer. It was just a mess.
Right.
This man's clothing actually looks pretty normal, as though he's been running around in the woods and whatnot, but not otherwise rotting, coming apart, torn, anything else. He'd been taken care of. Yeah.
So does he look rotting? Does he look like a person, or does he look like an undead thing?
He looks almost like mummified. He looks like he's so completely like all the moisture's been drawn out of him that
and we saw no blood.
This is a superior servant of some kind.
That would make sense. Go ahead and do your religion roll.
Okay.
That it looked almost as though from a distance you've seen old farmer types that looked almost the exact same way, that they were so kind of weathered.
Do I get advantage on religion checks because I've been reading Stanislaw and Timothy's journals?
Sure. Go ahead.
Heck yeah.
That sounds great.
All right, that's pretty good. Let's see if I can do better. I rolled 2 14s.
So he rolled 28.
That was quite the advantage.
You're right, 18.
With that check, you do note something that from the stuff you've been reading, but also things you were very briefly exposed to when you were at Arngol College, that you do believe that this is one of those terrible forms of necromancy where a person isn't just raised as a zombie like an automaton, that this is a free-willed, an individual that had purpose, retained his intellect, a lot of his physical features in life. A much, much more dangerous thing, but you're pretty sure that he was trapped, that he must not have expected all of you to catch up to him quite so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I share that with the party. We probably should bury him when we get out of here.
What about the actual room that we're standing in? He was doing some sort of a prayer or chant.
I want to examine that stone.
Oh, yeah.
To see if there's anything else about that stone that I can discover. And I'm going to use, may I use insight?
Yes, that'd be great.
So I rolled a 21.
You recognize the stone as you're looking at it. It's not just a piece of hematite. It's actually ringed with copper, and not as though someone had a copper band and just wrapped it around it and tension secures it. It's as though there's some sort of like a melting and a melding of those two different materials, that metal and the stone itself. And as you're turning it over, flipping it back again, it's roughly, it is cylindrical, but a very squat one, like a thick disc. And there is a symbol that seems almost completely worn off on the one side. You recognize it from your own knowledge of nature, things that Ludmilla had taught you, that it's a symbol from Old Bravis, and it means thought. The very symbol itself is the symbol in a...
hieroglyphic?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Victor. Like a hieroglyph or a pictogram is what I was thinking.
So I share that with the group. If I take this stone and put it inside my tinderbox, can I then block the perception? Can I then hold the tinderbox without sensing like the fox in David's pocket or the dragonfly in mine?
So...
David
first,
appears in the
world. Do your knowledge arcana 1, but then also, since it's kind of a toggle on-off, we'll actually go through the practice of that itself.
16.
Yeah, so as far as your knowledge of arcana goes, you don't know how this is going to work. When you put the thing in and it's in the box and you're not actually in direct contact with it, but you're thinking about that fox stone, you're looking at it right now. Jacob had pulled it out of his pocket and he was holding it. You're unable to focus on it. But if that's, not touching it or it's actually shielded, you don't know.
So it looks like potentially we could use this to track other stones. I don't know if it would keep something from tracking us.
Right.
But if it's not directly in contact with me, if I put it in the tinderbox, I can't sense, Jacob, your stone anymore.
All right.
Any other tests you want to do, or is that as far as that goes?
May I examine it?
Yes, absolutely. And I hand it to Boris.
Take it out of the box. Make a knowledge religion check first to see if I can recognize combinations of hematite and copper, the way it's kind of merged together, the symbol itself. 21.
You've seen this sort of thing before. A number of houses in the north of the Confederation of Duchies have combinations of metal and stone, and they're thought of as like family talismans, family symbols. To your knowledge, no one's ever put anything together that they could have a special purpose or property to it, but they are held as special heirlooms, things in very high regard.
Okay.
When it comes to the actual like functioning of the thing itself, you believe that in some way this has been altered from what it was supposed to be. Not the combination of the copper and the hematite.
A corruption of prayer.
Yes, some kind of that's the exact way to put it, a corruption of prayer.
Don't like. While I'm holding it, am I getting any particular sense of something?
I would imagine your thoughts would go right to that same stone that Jacob's holding. You almost couldn't help it.
Right.
So you are very aware of it, like almost directionally you're aware of that.
Only mine?
I focus back on trying to conjure the bear statue in my mind. The Ron and Dorothy Griffiths, that was their surname. The Griffiths bear statue.
Okay, so make an Arcana check.
10.
You're not coming up with it. You're not. It's no more than the memory of it or the thought of it,
right,
that you would have typically.
I try, a near target, the dragonfly of Zelens.
Okay, go ahead and roll that again.
5.
You're not picking up on it. It doesn't come through to you as though it's that it's geared toward that, or maybe that dragonfly isn't a component that is traceable.
So yeah, we've only ever
I'm gonna try focusing on the obelisk.
Okay.
felt the presence of my little object.
5 again.
Even with that 5, Boris, it's like a beacon. It's almost like, how could I not see it? It's, the forest through the trees. It's now like in your thought, in your perceptions, it's a glowing thing.
The obelisk again?
Laying on the floor.
A broken, partial column that was just lying on the floor. He was near it chanting his anti-backwards prayer.
Oh, this is in the room. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, it's right over there.
Except it's laying down because it's snapped off. And again, he's been tracking all of you, and you understand now how he's been tracking you.
Mm-hmm.
He's been able to fixate on the fox that Jacob has been carrying.
Sorry.
So is the fox and the obelisk the same stone?
No, and we'll get to that in one sec. But him fixating on this, you can almost imagine him as he was, moving through, running, making sure he knew exactly where all of you were, keeping his distance, whatever his own mission was, that he got a ping of something that was different, that was leading him in a different direction. And if those two are the same, the feeling of, oh yeah, there's Jacob's fox. He's just 5 feet from me. And then the overwhelming, once you focused on this obelisk, that it must have been throwing him off, that he couldn't see Jacob the same way.
Right, yeah, it's trying to see a flashlight next to a spotlight.
Yeah, very much like that.
All right.
Would you guys be bothered if I carried this and that scalpel?
No.
I just think you should carry it inside of something to try to block, just in case it can also be perceived.
Yeah, if someone else has a stone matching this, that stone itself might.
Right. You said your detect magic spell was blocked by dirt and stone. Do you know thicknesses? Like how much material needs to be in the way?
A foot of stone, but just an inch of common metal. 3 feet if it's wood or dirt. We could take it with us. We could put it inside my tinderbox, take it with us, and go back up.
That'd probably be the best, yeah.
So I'd like to examine the obelisk before we leave. And do you think we should look at that shelf that's in this cave but is higher up?
Potentially.
So
I'm all for that idea. Yeah.
While you're investigating the obelisk, I'm going to investigate him first, looking for scars, brands, tattoos, that kind of stuff, then flip him over to see if he's got a cut on the
Back of his neck.
like. Who was that we saw?
Yeah,
saw,
we did.
The zombie. Yeah.
Is that, yeah, and the bear. The bear had.
Right. Yeah, the bear had that too.
Yep.
All right, so first things first, then the obelisk. Go ahead and roll your investigation.
I'll move over and assist her with, I don't know, I'll hold the torch while you look.
Thank you.
But help, yeah. So advantage.
I rolled a natural 20.
Nice.
Very nice.
Holding the
know.
torch like a pro.
You are awesome.
Look there. Look right there. Look right there.
World Series of Torch Holding, starring Jacob Treadstone.
I see your dad yelled at you with when you were holding a flashlight in the garage.
Higher. Aziz, light.
You don't have to see. I have to see.
It is 3 different stones, but they're not 3 stones that would normally be together. You can tell that it is a clear quartz. It is citrine, and it is amethyst. And this is an obelisk looking very much like, a Washington Monument kind of an obelisk. It's about 5 feet tall. Of course, it's laying on its side.
If we can't recover it, do we still get treasure XP? Because this is an enormous gemstone.
It is an enormous gemstone. You would guesstimate the thing, Boris, weighs about 1,000 pounds.
Okay, yeah.
As
So we
it
start
sits
to
there.
chip it up
Do
and then
I-
buy a kingdom.
Do I know about stones? Because quartz is an amplifier and the other 2 are healing stones.
Go ahead and do your knowledge nature.
I mean,
Or
Sounds
just
like you know about
knowledge
stones to me.
nature
I
check.
know about them.
How pristine does this obelisk look? Do we feel like if we chip it away, if we damage it in some way, it'll stop being this beacon?
Well, I don't.
That'd be a question, yeah.
I'm wondering if he was trying to turn it.
It might not be
If this is
inherently
actually, if this is actually, hold on. I rolled with advantage again. Is that okay?
Oh,
He's
So
still
for
helping
investigating
me.
it?
why did you roll with advantage? Why are you?
Because he's helping.
Are you still
Well,
investigating
he
the
never said
obelisk?
he was helping you.
Yeah, I said I came over to help hold the torch and while she was investigating the...
Okay.
if she's still investigating the obelisk, then...
So then it's a 20.
Boy, you can
Unnatural?
tell he's married to the DM.
I sleep with the DM. I sleep with the DM.
She's playing with her hair, too. She's playing him like a fiddle.
You find out all kinds
It's
of things.
almost like she's been doing this for years.
Have I been questioned or geezed? Both. All right.
What is marriage but a really expensive geese spell?
Yeah, and God says okay.
Well, it must be quest then, since it's a divine spell.
It would have to be. You do know that that as a clear quartz, it's like a power neutralizing and healing as well. So it's all those things together. Citrine with healing is also abundance, or the expectation of abundance. And amethyst, tranquility, mental healing, as well as a portal to a higher level of thinking or consciousness. All those things are combined in this one. So yes, with that 20, you're very aware of all those sorts of things.
I suspect he was not trying to use this, but trying to turn it.
Corrupt it.
Because these are all positive, powerful. How much does it weigh?
About 1,000 pounds,
Oh,
Boris
dang.
guesstimated, yeah.
That was
Oh,
really
here.
cool. You guys said at the exact same time. It was like Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound. 1,000 pounds.
God speaks.
So this is
Lift with your legs. Let's go.
It's only half a ton.
Actually, how much would that be? Because presumably 3 of us were relatively strong individuals.
Have you calculated your carrying capacity, or was I the only person who did that?
I'm
It's probably
guessing
just you.
Yeah, I can lift 285 pounds on my own.
And what's your strength?
19?
Okay, so we can lift slightly less than that. So, we can't lift it. We need another person here.
Well,
Ah,
it's
if
also
only
a
we-
matter of like the actual moving it through
Oh, yeah, true.
spaces.
If only
and-
we didn't kill this guy. He could have helped us.
But-
I'm going to detect magic on it and see.
Okay, cast it.
So
Oh,
what
yeah, I
you
just
rolling?
cast it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just do. Da-da.
Okay, so she set the die down.
So I
cast detect magic
did
with my
thing.
dart.
I did my thing. I say, magic, are you here?
It is. It radiates magic. It's most definitely magic. You're getting both evocation and divination magic as a residual on this thing, even broken as it's laying here on its side. As you cast detect magic, you can see that, not that they're embossed, but lettering begins to appear on this obelisk itself and is moving in a pattern like lights coming on or stars going out all over it until that pattern is complete. Roll your languagey stuff. An intelligence roll.
Maybe wisdom. I think it'd be wisdom.
Linguistics?
I think stuff involving language, arcana,
Wisdom.
recalling lore. No, that's all intelligence stuff. So make an intelligence roll.
17.
That as you are like just going symbol to symbol, some you can't see, so there's gaps. You could imagine it's laying down that there are letters that are appearing on other parts to it that are out of your field of view. But as you're putting it together, there's gaps into it. You recognize it as being power outside of your current ability range, that you know that druids of the highest order have the capacity to look into the future. And you believe that this stone was a thing that once upon a time could do that, or somebody was in the process of rigging it to do that in whatever this space is in this ancient room.
So I share all that with my cohorts.
I examine it with knowledge religion to see if I can get a different
Okay, go ahead.
take on it. Do I get advantage because of the insights
Yeah,
that
that'd be
Zone
fine.
gave? Good. Okay. That's a 19.
That with that, you don't get the same take on it as she was looking at as these symbols were appearing. The order of that meant nothing to a person trained in religion as you, Boris.
Right.
But you did note,
Not
as,
some kind of heathen.
yeah, as the whole thing, as you are examining it now with your knowledge of religion, you recognize the thing still has an ancillary power, a current power that with touch will still be, hate to use the word like detonated, but will be accessed, that you believe it can heal.
Neat. I think it has some degree of healing power.
Do we have any means of breaking it? Do you think your
Why
hammer...
would we break it? Why not touch it and heal up?
Oh, that... Okay, I was thinking taking it with us. That makes sense, too.
Yeah.
I touch it.
Yeah,
I do as well, yeah.
Maybe touch it one at a time.
I'll go first.
I touch
Hey,
how
Jacob,
many hit points do you have?
5.
I have 8, so I'm going first.
Jacob, will you?
Oh, if it hurts us. Gotcha.
Jacob, will you check to see what the fog's doing? Has it even come into this room?
Sure.
You are healed back to maximum, Boris.
Nice.
You would have
Nice.
gotten 15 points back had you had that much damage taken.
Had I had that much damage taken, I wouldn't be.
I know. Yeah.
I'd be a little preoccupied with
hoping I'd
bleeding out.
leveled up ahead of that.
I would have dragged you over
Drag
to the
Boris
stone
over and slapped his
laid
hand
you.
against it.
Yeah, right.
All right. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I can come back over and place my hand on it as well.
Look at those 2 dice just. I rolled 2 ones and a third one. But even with that, that's 9.
Oh, wow, yeah. Back to max as well.
That was absolutely the rock bottom number it could possibly do. I just rolled 3 ones in a row. That's
Can it make me less sticky?
nope. It cures wounds and
Have we stopped
and a
doing phrasing?
bath.
But if we're doing, yeah, that's fine. But if we're doing something else, you guys got to tell me.
Yeah, no, even with that lowest amount of healing, it still gets me back up to max, so that's good.
The joy of being first level.
You didn't take any damage, did you?
I did not. I was just sticky. So
Okay. Hold on a second.
Keep going.
So if I look at it, can I tell what would happen if we tried to break it up to take it out?
Yeah, sure. Do that as a knowledge arcana.
I'll assist with my knowledge of religious magic.
Okay. So roll with advantage, Zelen.
17.
You believe that if you could break this thing, that would ruin it.
The only way for it to be useful is to get it out whole. Should we look at the ledge next?
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want to just boost me up so I can see up there?
Sure, let's get back into that room and then
Yeah, that's
we'll give
back
you a
out
lift.
into the
Oh
next
no,
room.
there's a ledge in this room too, isn't there?
No, that was just outside
That was
the door.
previous
There's
room.
two.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
There is 2.
There are
one
2, but
in the first room, and there's one in the room after the spider room.
Yeah, but not in
Okay.
this one. The room just before this one. Yeah.
And the fog isn't still.
No, the
following
fog
us,
was
right?
dissipating this whole time. I'm assuming
correct.
at this point it's probably
Not
gone.
even noticeable.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I'm reasonably athletic or acrobatic, whichever one's usable. You guys want me to go up there?
Sure, I'll
Take
give
a
you a
look.
boost.
Give me a boost.
So yeah, you're back out into that room that's kind of like a flattened square in its footprint, and yeah, Boris, you give him a boost up, and there's plenty of stuff to grab onto, but just give me a make that a dexterity check, a
Acrobatics.
acrobatics check.
9.
9. You're not catching up. Actually, just to save yourself, do an athletics check. You can grab onto something and just pull yourself up. Kind of
Natural 20.
Yeah, okay.
24.
So I'm more buff than I realized.
Desperation kicks in, and you just like thing and stop.
So as you're pulling yourself up, your first inclination is 1, it's dark. 2, there is a space from that room. It does look as though it is heading in the same general direction as the room that was all metal. Like it's heading that way roughly. But to go into that, you're going to need to just keep pulling yourself up and go in head first, and then start crawling along like you're in a tube.
Gotcha. How much higher do I have to climb up with this?
About where you are, with Boris pushing on your feet from down below, and with the handholds you have right now, you know you could lever yourself up into this. You've already made the strength roll.
Can you hand me the torch?
Take an unlit one, hold on to the butt end, and then light it from ours.
Okay, do that. So I'll retrieve one from my pack, and I'll reach down to light it off of the lit torch.
Okay, so yeah, you guys can perform those things, and now you do see it again. It's called a natural space. It isn't as though something like a giant worm came through here and made this tube like this, but it's just the natural gap as roots were filling in. The place collapsed to begin with, but you can move through it. It's just big enough for a grown man to move through.
Gotcha.
Could Boris fit through?
Does Boris want
Was
to
the
fit
worm
through?
of the Alaskan bull variety?
Those things are huge.
It'd be tough with the shield.
Yeah, so I'll call back down. Like, maybe not with his shield. Do you guys want me to go ahead and take a look and see what I can see?
How far does it go?
How far can I see into it? I'm imagining holding
30, 40 feet. I mean, it's as far as your torch can go. But again,
Very long.
there's still roots going through it, and it isn't as though you're just, moving yourself through it. You're still snapping roots out of the way, pushing the things out of the way because you can't see that far
almost
forward.
creating a path as I'm going. It goes deep.
Not quite that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, it goes deep.
What can we hope to learn from this?
I say explore. I say let's try it.
Okay, Boris, there's that other entrance. Do you want to go over there and see if maybe these connect together? See if you can see the light coming through?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
And Zelen, do you want to come up here with me, or you want to stay where you are?
No, I'll climb up.
All right,
I'll give Zelen a boost up after the way's clear.
Okay, so first make that acrobatics check, Zelen.
What is an acrobatics check?
It's dexterity, and if you have proficiency, you get that modifier with it too, which you don't.
Proficiency in athletics of all things.
10.
But you do add your dexterity adjustment to it, whatever the plus numbers next to your dice.
I think she did.
10.
Okay. Okay. And then make a strength roll to see if you can just woman handle yourself up there. And Boris, you're giving her a boost, so we'll make it an advantage roll.
4.
That's not with advantage.
Okay.
Yeah,
with
roll
advantage. Okay.
Yeah, the other one.
Thank you, natural 20. Boris caught me and just threw me up there like a javelin.
No. Up.
Belt, collar.
So you're now up in that. And again, for you, it's very dark.
Boris yeeteth.
The Lord yeeteth and the Lord yoinketh away. Yeah.
Well, you can hear the thump as she,
It's the ceiling.
she like whoop, blocks the whole tube. But it's very dark for you. The torch is on the other side of Jacob's body. He's moving forward, and he fills it. He fills that space. He's just barely getting through all this. Then, Boris, you're going into the metal chamber, back through that crack in the wall.
Yeah, into the one that looks like a vase because I need a harder climb to challenge myself, I guess.
Well, and you couldn't fit necessarily through the one we're doing.
So you go through into that space, and it's quite apparent. As soon as you go in there, you can see the light up in the ceiling, that it does connect. And as you first stand up from the angle on the very edge of the room, you can see that there is a space that continues going to like forward and a little bit to the left once you go through there.
I can see your torch. Looks like there's another passage too.
Okay. Get closer. As we're moving through this area, are we running into any issues? Or are we still kind of coming through?
It's very slow, but you can definitely get through that. And then you do get to the open spot. You can see where you're now on metal at the very top of this thing. Go ahead and roll, both of you. I guess yours would be first, Jacob. An investigation.
8.
Yeah, you're just aware that you get to about a foot's worth of metal, and you're on top of that, and you can barely skirt the top of it. With your torch, you can see that direction that Boris is talking about, that it continues.
Okay.
14.
As he moves past and you're looking at it, and you can look down and see Boris, like right down below where you guys are, you note that there's different scarring on the top of this metal, as though things very hot, very large pieces of metal had like knocked into it, slammed against it, had maybe repeatedly hit the same spot again and again. But there are grooves that run the whole width of that foot thickness at the top part of this rim.
So I've described that to you guys.
So like something huge and burning is trying to break in.
Yeah, or it was used for something. Look in the center of the area down below. Can you tell if there was anything special about the center?
I'll make an investigation check. 14.
As you're like examining that more, and again, there was some dirt in here, and you're pushing some of that silt and that mud aside, Boris, you can see that there is metal, like a sheet of metal on top of the metal surfacing of this that looks as though, like I described it before, the walls in the bottom of this were like they were heat damaged.
Like it had been cut out.
Well, heat damaged. This looks as though something had been melted inside of it, and this is a residual that's still inside.
I share that.
Looks like copper.
Copper.
Like a sheeting of copper on the bottom of this. To the one side, it knifes out, but to the other side, it could be 3/4 of an inch thick.
Weird.
Does the stone in your pocket, the one in the tinderbox, does it react at all to this?
Your tinderbox.
Oh, I thought you were carrying the stone.
You asked to keep that and the scalpel.
Yeah, and then we talked about putting it in your tinderbox.
Yeah, but I thought
And
you
now
took
you
my
have a tinderbox
tinderbox.
too.
So apparently Boris has it.
Right, neat. So yeah, I'll take out the stone and see if there's a reaction between them.
There's no reaction, but beyond it being copper, but it does look as though this thing might have been used to melt vast amounts of copper, and to look to see how that
This
obelisk...
rock in my hand?
No.
The big thing on the
big
floor.
thing that you're standing in. This room.
This
room.
Like we're in a foundry vat. Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
kind of
yeah.
like that. It's very much like that.
I like that even less.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess as we break through the smokestack, do we get to a point where we can see down and see Boris?
Yeah.
Yeah, you already did. You've already moved. You're moving around the rim of that, and you're already moving to that adjacent.
Don't go into the next one
too.
yet. Let me take point in that, so that way if I get stuck, you two still have a known exit behind you.
Is there a way that we can pull him up or get him up into this area?
Well, there's almost half of that, a little more than half of that space has been the what I say, like 30 to 40 feet across. That's the opening of the top of this vat, is blocked by tree root, like massive roots that came down like a waterfall. He could definitely climb that and get up to the height where you are right now.
Okay, and
Are you coming up, Boris?
we
Yeah,
assume
push
that
the
the-
torch through to the other opening, so that way I've got the light in front of me.
Okay.
and we judge that the opening is large enough for him to be able to take all of his gear and climb through.
It looks like it,
Okay.
like it was enlarged or just naturally a little bit larger.
Shield included, or
Shield included.
okay.
Well, he's climbing up. I'm going to just squat down at that opening and do my best to listen. Do I hear anything? Do I smell anything?
I pass my shield up to them, so they can push it over onto the far side, or if I can do that myself, and then put the torch on top of that, and then begin my climb. That way I'm climbing with both hands.
Perfect. That all makes good sense. Go ahead and do your investigation, Zelen. And Boris, go ahead and roll your climb check, strength base.
17.
And 18.
Okay, yeah. So first, the climb was no problem. You get right up and head first into that tube. The torch is out in front of you. When it comes to a listen, no. Actually, it seemed quieter here than it has to date. Apart from your own sounds, you don't believe there's anything else in here. And as far as this place seemed like a foundry, that's making sense to you, that this was a foundry of some sort.
Big foundry.
Big foundry, right. And that's the point to it. But it looks as though that by proximity, that the room that is the obelisk room, it would actually be, if this is a place where they melted metal, a form, that the obelisk itself was
weird.
in a form a long, long time ago. And some workers or people, beings with immense skill, were in the process of making a thing that could do something. And from what like Zelen was picking up on, that maybe even being able to a device that could cast the foresight spell, to put it in terms of gaming terms, like a 9th level druid spell. So the most powerful kind of druid spell. And they were doing things with a stone and then encasing it in copper for whatever that did.
Yeah, so we're in the heart of an artifact workshop.
Is there anything that you can think of that we can do to protect that stone? If this thing found it and was trying to pervert it, could something else find it and try to pervert it? I could cast Entangle, and then the roots would die, but they would at least be covered, it would be covered in it.
The best thing I could think of would be collapsing that cave and burying it.
Right.
That'd be the only.
That's what I'm wondering. I hate to leave it. It is a helpful, positive stone, but we can't carry it with us, and I hate to leave it for something else to come and damage.
I think the only reason he found it is because he had this stone that led him here. You can see how nothing has been down here in decades easily. It might be worth leaving here in case we need to come back to it.
That's what I'm thinking. Just bury it, just so somebody else doesn't get it. Because Boris said that he's seen these stones in the north.
We could
so
seal
somebody
the
else
entrance
could
of
come.
the cavern. Access to the surface.
I have a thing called Thunderwave. I wonder if that would work.
Okay, while you're looking that up, you're proceeding along the
Right.
that tunnel tube.
Yeah, torch on top of shield. The metal side of shield, not the handle side. Pushing that in front of me, advancing through.
It's longer than the tube that Jacob and Zelen went through to go from that crushed square room, the empty room, into the crucible. But as you go through the arcing turn of that, it does get to a point where you can see that it goes down a little bit, and then you can see that you need to drop down, either try to reverse yourself, grab onto some roots and let your body fall, but hold yourself up, or just go head first down into a room that's down below.
Yeah.
How are we going to get back out? Should we tie a rope before you drop down? I'm assuming that.
Let's take a look first so we know what the other side is. It might be.
Do remember, we tied a rope at the very beginning. We can just lower Boris into the room.
You try that.
So when I get to the point where, if I push any further, my shield would just go through.
Right.
I'm gonna, investigate the room, looking around how much the torch illuminates.
Okay, go ahead and roll that.
15.
On that 15, the torch is burning a little bit easier, but even more directly, you can smell fresher air coming from this place down below than what you were feeling the whole time through this tube.
I can smell air. I think we've got access to the surface here somewhere. Is it? Tell me about the room.
It is stone. It's stone again. It looks like it's a granite-like stone.
Still root choked?
Not as much, but yeah, there's definitely roots that are inside here.
How about like above the passage?
Yes, and that's actually roots have broken into this through the ceiling, and that's what made the hole to begin with.
Okay, and how far down is the floor of this room?
It would be about a 15-foot drop.
Okay, so it's going to be loud dropping my shield through.
Yes.
I'm going to drop the torch through, so that way we've got light where we're going. Leaving the shield for now, one of them can pass it down to me, and I can catch it once I'm through. I'm going to roll over on my back, kind of scooch forward, grab it roots over, and kind of lever myself out and down.
Okay, yeah.
Rather than just like trying to tumble with it.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. First things first, when the torch it hits stone. It's burning down there.
Clatters.
And as you're looking, but it's not in mud, it's not in dirt or silt, it's not in moisture, it's not even in leaves. So it looks as though it's a fairly
It's bare and undisturbed.
dry, undisturbed place. And then you maneuver yourself that way. Go ahead and do an athletics check as you are maneuvering yourself to deliver yourself
That is
down.
on an edge. It's the third time I've done that.
That's pretty incredible.
10.
Yeah, that's all you needed. That you lever yourself, pull your legs, and then dropping down from there. It isn't that far.
Right.
I'll
Jacob
hand it.
dropping down my shield.
I'll hand the shield.
I think Jacob's next.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
next? Okay.
Jacob dropping down my shield.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah,
Push
you,
it forward for him.
You catch it. Sure.
And lean it, and I position myself to act as a brace to help him climb out.
Okay, so go ahead. If you're going to do the same thing you saw him do, just make an athletics check.
I will do that.
With advantage because I'm helping.
Yes.
Okay. Athletics 15.
And yes, you're down. You reverse yourself, you hang for a moment, and then just drop it. At that point, it's only like a 4 or 5 foot drop to fall.
Awesome.
Do you want me to secure a rope up here before I come down so we can get back up, or the root's going to be enough to climb back up again?
The roots don't come down the way they did in the crucible room, so it would be difficult to get back up again.
Stone walls?
Stone walls, yes.
Pitted at all? Board bricked?
As you're looking at that, it looks like it's very well done, like a very well done stone. There is built-in seats that go around this on 3 different points, and then one section of wall seems to be collapsed. You can see that on one side there is, in one corner, almost opposite where you are, that there is an opening that you could walk through, and that's the source of the fresher air. But as you're making that cursory look, go ahead and roll an actual investigation, Boris.
6. Maybe Jacob's looking around too.
Yes, I am, in fact.
So roll it.
13.
That, Boris, you're moving very quickly. You're saying, gosh, there's nothing else here. It's not even pitted. The stone's in bizarrely good shape in this room. And Jacob says, what is that? And it's actually an embossed bit of stonework. It's lettering. It doesn't look like it's as complicated and as numerous as the letters that appeared on the obelisk, but it's definitely written out as though it's announcing this place or a location or something.
I speak and read Celestial. Is that it?
It actually looks a little bit more like a variation of the common language that's spoken in the Confederation of Duchies, but there's elements to it that seem like some of these things that Zellen's been looking at that looks like that kind of symbols too.
Old Bravis, then,
or
potentially,
or a hybridization of them. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So what's the vote? Do you want me to tie a rope off or just come down?
No, just hop on down.
All right. So I'm coming down.
Arms out to
I
catch.
assist.
Okay. So that's an athletics check.
So
with advantage.
It means you roll twice.
Oh.
Thanks.
So Boris, roll an athletics check to catch her.
I rolled a 9
what was
and
your first one?
8, and the second one was a 1.
Oh.
12.
So you guys started talking and got distracted.
So as
no, you just misplaced yourself.
as you didn't have a very good grip, and you find yourself in very much kind of a controlled flip, and you're falling, and the moment that you're going to impact, you are caught.
Thank you.
By a Boris who just stands you upright.
Thank you, Boris.
That's what I'm here for.
So I'm going to walk over and examine the letters.
That they were talking about below, and that's how you knew about them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
No, that's right.
No, it's just like, because they totally said that out loud, yes.
And do I have an advantage to examine them?
None of us know the glyphics that you've been...
You actually do, because Boris is picking up on some of the language itself.
Neat.
And am I rolling it? Which ability am I using?
I think it was just a raw intelligence last time.
That'd be lore. It'd be your intelligence again.
So that's a 13.
It's a name. It says Krenlin Protectorate. Krenlan. Krenlin Protectorate.
Krenlin Protectorate.
Knowledge local? No.
That'd be some kind of a history. So an intelligence.
Yeah.
That you might have got something, but if you have history, that'd be the actual roll. And that's
should we
for
all
of you.
roll it?
Yeah, for all of you.
Can I roll it as a religion, kind of comparative growth and recession of religious histories and empires?
It's reasonable. Yeah, go ahead. Because the religion in the Confederation of Duchies has followed that very, very closely.
11.
I'm an 11 as well.
15.
All right.
All right, farm boy, what'd you learn?
So the farm boy says, it looks like it is like half of what you're talking about, Zellen, and about half of what you're talking about, Boris. Could this have been, like, if we're looking for something that is old Bravis, could this have been some iteration of their decline? Or somebody trying to hang on to knowledge? Somebody built something up in between?
Yeah, or an outer territory? Because
if old Bravis is as old as what we're saying, I mean, this place looks as though it's 1,000 years old, that no one's been down here for hundreds at least, maybe an eon. And old Bravis is a lot older than that. That maybe this was someone trying to use that kind of knowledge and power. Not exactly old Bravis, but definitely not modern either.
Right, yeah.
Are there any other anything else I notice about this room now that I'm down in it? There's one point where the air is coming through, but is there anything else?
Where is that point? Yeah.
That would be like from your position on the opposite wall from where this this lettering is on this one side. The one wall that doesn't have a bench built into it, where it looks as though the room was forced open either through some natural quake or some other ground disturbance that cracked it open right at the vertices of two walls, right at that junction.
So can I get a sense of what this space is? How did people get into it when they were using it?
I would say roll an investigation, I would say, is your best thing. Or I guess do it as a perception instead, a wisdom thing.
Natural 20.
Wow. You're
so low energy, just, yes.
I'll do this.
Another one.
And the universe grants me my due.
It's difficult to say with the ceiling damage, but it could have been this is a form, that it wasn't actually made to be a room. It was made that people are making things like really big blocks
pouring
with whatever
molten
stuff it was
stuff
doing.
in.
So would it have to have been giants or something that were making things this large?
Or just people that needed something really big.
And they made it in a form. So it looks again like this is some kind of form to go with that forge. It doesn't look like people were coming in and out of here.
Did we decide where the fresh air was coming from?
There's a crack between a couple walls.
Do we want to start moving in that direction?
Yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And again, you picked up gear, torch, I'd imagine you have with you as well.
Yes.
And that opening it's dry dirt. Water's not getting into this. And it's rough. It is really just a separation between where one rock has shifted one way. If there was building above this place, part of it's collapsed. And some dirt, there's definitely roots still going through this. So it's slow going. But you traverse this for about 60 feet, and it gets narrow and it gets wide again. But the further you go, the air is fresher and fresher to the point where you actually see outside air. And then as you get right to the edge of it, you're at a slight underhang of the rock that's above you, and you're outside.
What's the terrain like outside? Are we just
Can we
in
tell
the
where we
hills,
are?
or
Yeah.
Just
any landmarks?
It would take you just a moment. You could, Jacob, you could do a survival to know very specifically, but you believe you're not too far from where you went into this place to begin with.
Oh, gotcha. 16.
Yeah, you're about 300, maybe 320 feet south of where you went underground.
Wow.
Almost in a line. You've only been underground for about an hour, something
Holy
like that.
Moses.
So all that time, about an hour. And it's just mid-morning, maybe, heading a little later toward noon. So there's a lot of daylight left. But
Zelen, how often can you do that thunder wave, and do you think it'll do what you anticipate it doing?
So I can do it once a day, and it'll move anything loose. So it'll move anything unsecured. It will be pushed 10 feet away from me. It will make a very loud sound. Do we close up this opening? Because we came in it a different way.
My thought is, one, we examine the kind of, for want of a better phrase, structural integrity of this opening, because it's the one where we are. If it seems like we can collapse it manually, we do so. Otherwise, we do what we can, and then you magically collapse it that way. Then we go around to the other entrance, set camp, and do the same.
I'm good with that.
okay. Go ahead and read your description of your spell, Zelen.
A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from me. Each creature within 15 feet must make Constitution saving throws to stay away. Fail equals 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away from me. Success equals half as much damage, no push. Also, unsecured objects in range are pushed 10 feet away from me. Spell emits thunderous boom, audible to 300 feet.
So we'll play this as a rule of cool. The way the ground is right around here, it's mostly rock. You don't think it's going to do a whole lot at this end of the tunnel, but you do think at the other side where it was more dirt that you're going down into, where there's trees and whatnot that had fallen into this, you do think it could collapse that end, but it's probably going to be permanently collapsed. At this end, you'd probably need to roll a couple of big rocks in place to block off the spot you came from.
So do we want to try rolling the big rocks?
How long of a blast is it?
15 feet. 15 feet cube.
Yeah. And do you have to be like adjacent to that, or can you be a distance from it?
Does it
I
say
don't know.
range?
The range is 15 feet cubed, self and a 15 foot.
You got to be
cube.
right there.
Yeah, I'd hate to think, collapsing it with you in it. That just sounds like a way to get you buried. Let's try and do this one more mundanely.
Okay.
So yeah,
So you take about an hour, and with your strength, your constitution, you can do that. You're moving larger stones, levering them, rolling them, carrying them when you can. But at the end of that hour, you do have this blocked up fairly well. Jacob, go ahead and roll a survival check.
Okay. 10.
And was Zelen helping you?
Yes, Zelen was helping you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she was helping me. 7.
Good Lord, I was helping you, not tripping you.
You are pretty sure that just about anybody, you've disturbed the ground so much, just about anybody could find where this has been blocked off. Not that they could easily move these stones out, but they would know that somebody stacked a bunch of stones, at least until the weather gets on it and washes dirt and that kind of thing. It looks definitely different.
Okay. Do you guys want to spend any more time adjusting this to make it harder to notice, or do we want to call this good? Because it'll take some doing to
I'm
unearth.
city folk. If something can be done, that's you two doing. That's Druid and Ranger talk.
That's what I mean.
I think it's better to try and disguise it than not.
It is disguised now. It just won't last, I don't believe. But it will still take some doing to unearth it.
Other way around.
Right.
It isn't disguised. It will be eventually as nature gets back to
I
it.
think
but it is-
eventually.
It's locked. It's just not disguised.
I think eventually is fine. I don't think there's that many of these things running around with the rocks to be able to track it here. I think we're okay. I think we go seal the other entrance, and I think we're okay.
Okay, so yeah,
right.
it's definitely sturdily blocked. Nothing could go through it unless they were really working at it very hard to move stone.
Okay. And the other entrance, do we want to do that real fast?
Okay, so you move over the terrain. So you're over a little bit of a ridge, down through a little cut, and then from the other side, you can see the spot where it really drops in like a sinkhole, where there's a two fallen trees across it, where a lot of water just rushes right into it.
Okay. So I guess not necessarily, we don't want to block this hole, because if it's used for water, then that'll just mess up the surrounding area and maybe be more suspicious, but just disguising it would probably be what we want to do here. Does that make sense?
Or
Yeah.
are you still thinking about doing your spells, Ellen?
Yeah, what we had talked about doing is a thunder wave to block it.
Yeah, I've been looking to see specifics for damaging objects, and there isn't a whole lot of particular information.
Did you look at page 240?
Yeah, like I said, we'll go by rule of cool and say that since it moves stuff, can knock people back. The ground is so soft right here already.
Right.
If you believe that if you can cast this into the uphill side of where this opening is, that is the side you're standing on right now, it will probably collapse enough loose dirt that's this area. It's just an unstable area that it could shift that dirt and close it. It's a matter of keeping you from slipping down into it. So what precautions do you take with the next nearest big
I'll tie
tree?
you off and have you on belay. Wrap the rope a couple times around a tree.
Yep, I agree.
Hold on to it myself.
I agree.
I will help.
Okay, so it takes a few minutes for that rope to be set that way. That's not a difficult thing to put a rope up over a branch like that. So you're tied off.
Yep, I put my hands up and say, thunder wave, ho!
Okay.
I don't know why you insulted the ground like that.
You thunderwave ho. And the
Oh,
ground.
it's a Thundercats reference. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Thundercats. Thank you.
Thundercats are on.
Oh.
Okay, I think you two might be the only people who got that reference.
People from our
I'm willing to bet
generation.
one person listening just went, ha!
Thundercats, yeah. Love them.
And Steven, because I know it's you, stop that.
It is successful. The ground shakes. It isn't like it shakes, starts to rumble and slowly slides. It goes boom and just slips all this stuff right down to it. And that dirt shifts right into it. It looks like a little landslide has happened, like you see on the edge of a road after a big rain. But it looks fairly natural that way too. But there is no way. If you started digging with a shovel right here, it would just keep collapsing more dirt from the hill down to it. And then a few minutes to get Zelen re-secured, pull her back, take the rope, coil it back up.
Take a moment, get my bearings, and okay, the waterfalls are that way.
Yes. And roll a listen.
Listen, perception,
Perception, yes, sir.
unnatural 20.
Nice. You think you can hear water falling.
Thank you for listening to The Empire's Edge. My husband, Matt, our DM, created this game based on his novel An Evil Before. If you like our story, explore it at mattsinkovich.com. That's mattsinkovich.com or theempiresedge.com. And remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Empire's Edge.